Okay, so a bit of a different one today. Hey everyone, I'm Klloo, and welcome to some Fab showcases, I guess is the way to put it. Right, so the funnest part for me, right, when it comes to Fab is deck building, right? Even playing and winning comes second to that. Just looking through cards, thinking about the combinations, and, you know, putting them together. Seeing what is possible with a 40-card deck, a 60-card deck, 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind. That is super entertaining, and I can just spend days doing it, reading every card over, and seeing what mashes together. So I thought we'd just take some time, and rather than me, you know, specifically go, here's the class, here's the combo, why don't we just chuck a whole bunch of them all together into one video. So, hope you enjoy. Okay, so starting out, we definitely have to go with Melody first off, right? So for a couple of reasons. One, Melody is not available in Classic Constructed, sadly, right? Otherwise there would be tons of fun to be had. It would be a very gimmicky deck, don't get me wrong, because that's the other reason. The way combo works in Flesh and Blood, right? The more parts there are, the better it actually is, right? So the more your deck feeds into the combo in its entirety, the happier you are because you're going to be a little bit more consistent, right? If you're looking for these specific cards to all line up, that's where the issue really runs into trouble. So for instance, with Kayo and Berserk, and why Berserk was banned, there are just so many workable parts, right? Anything that is cheap, draws, discards, and has go again, which there are a ton of, makes that work, right? In fact, it doesn't even need the draw and discard. That's where Berserk comes in, just needs to discard. So the issue with Melody is you need stuff to pitch, you need to draw, and you need Final Act, right? So we tend to run Tome, Art of War, all these other cards to assist in cycling through the deck so that we can find Final Act, right? Because if we don't find Final Act, it doesn't work. There's no other search. So for instance, this is probably the most workable form, and we might have to redo this a couple times. So if this hand does change, well, it means I have missed. But basically, we are trying to run the most consistent, which is also going to be the least amount of damage. There's no tomes, there's no Art of Wars, there's no other unnecessary draw. All it is cash in, cash out, and a bunch of blues and Final Act. So let's see how much damage we can do. We start off with cash in. We're not going to pay the gold, so instead we pitch, double, float 2, so that's already stacking up for the Final Act. Now we hit the other cash in, which is fine because we still have the blue, so we can do that again, pitch the blue. If we draw the other Final Act, that's when we get sad. So we can pop the gold, hopefully get cash out. If we don't get cash out, again, we're sad, but look at that, I am just super lucky. So we can do cash out, we can then get rid of our crown, destroy more, the robes, the gauntlets, and of course our weapon, saving the boots as our pivotal point of gaining go again for Final Act. So we get ourselves 4 silver off of that. In fact, I have to click no. There we go. So now for the silver, we're basically just drawing until we find the other Final Act, and that will dictate how much damage we can do. So there's the Oblivion. Don't draw Final Act. Perfect. Don't draw Final Act, and don't be 1 off either, because looking at the blues, I've taken 1 card too many, and I'm going to be really sad if that's what happens. But as you can see, I have 2 resources exactly for Final Act. Come on. So 50-50, be Final Act. Thank you. Perfect. So this is theoretically, right, some of the highest damage. Again, you can extend it with Tome, Art of War, all these other cards, but for consistency's sake, this would be your best bet. As you can see, I've also done it with 4 cards in hand, so you don't have to worry about the arsenal, and it's also turn 1, right, which is always good. So quick step to start to get ourselves a Quicken token, and then it's just Final Act into Final Act for 17, and then 17. So 34, which is obviously going to be quite enough for Blitz, right? They're full block, and we still did 23 damage. They didn't use any armor, so it actually is cutting it a little bit close, but yeah, right? 34 is not a bad way to start. And again, I'd love it as a finisher in Classic Constructed, especially since you'd have more HP to toy around with as Melody, so that then you can, you know, take this other line of normal attacks, thin out your deck, pitch stack it a little bit, and then go into Final Act. But there we have it. Melody. On to the next one. Okay, so next up is Nu, Zen, and actually Enigma. Yeah, all 3 can run this combo. This combo is basically Final Act 2.0, so I'm super excited. Big thanks to Queenie. I was hyper-focused on Nu, right? I knew Nu would be able to pull this off because of Beckoning Mistblade and just all the other go-again, you know, advantages that Nu has. It's crazy how much go again they've given Nu, right? But all 3 can actually run this combo, so we've stripped it down just to its bare minimum because all 3 do have their own sort of twist and spin on it that will have different results and, you know, potentially different max damage. Plus, we haven't seen all the Majestics in the set, so I'm going to wait till they come out, right, to actually do a proper spotlight on each of the heroes. but for now, we'll just show off the ins and out of the combo. So we have Deep Blue Sea, which is basically half final act, gets +1 for each blue card you pitch this turn. We basically only pitch blue, right? Even in Melody, we only pitch blue. Wide Blue Yonder then makes it into a final act, and we can run 3 copies because we are also in Class Constructed, which is fantastic. I'm glad that I can finally take this combo to Class Constructed, right? Again, it plays exactly the same as Melody, right? Just with some more flavorful cards and some much higher value blues. Anyway, let's see what we can pull off. So again, our game plan is to play Deep Blue Sea and 3 Wide Blue Yonders, meaning we do want a nice big hand size. So we'll actually cash in the gold to make sure that we stay in the positive range, right? We're also doing it turn 1, so no arsenal. So it's very important that, again, we maintain a large hand size. So we have Stir the Pot, but no other blue to play. So let's definitely cash in. Now I do run all 3 copies of Deep Blue Sea for this exact scenario. So we can get rid of that. That's fine. Draw 2 more. And we get ourselves a Rising Sun and a Stir the Pot. Well, I think we'll do Rising Sun and then Stir the Pots. No. Which way's better? It is probably better to shuffle first and then maintain a Wide Blue Yonder on the bottom. But I've done this backwards. It's fine. We'll leave it. We'll see what happens, right? Single Wide Blue Yonder. We get the chi. We also get the chi from Stir the Pot because we played them conjunction. We get the cash out, right? So we get to cash out Crown, Blossom, every little piece, right? Chess piece, I was playing around with Blossom to see how it smooths things over. But it's always worth just getting the silver. So a good thing to probably mention is Nu and Zen both have 2 dagger slots, right? Which is fantastic. It's 1 extra silver over Melody, which is super impactful. So 6 silver, perfect. And we can start just cycling through and seeing what else we draw. Now, we do want to find a cash in and be able to use the silver, right? Because again, we want to go back to that positive hand size. So we'll do that. And we get ourselves Homage. That's some more chi. Drop in the Ocean we can't play. That's fine. We do also want to hold the chi because we have the other Tenant card, right? The draw. Oh, there we go. Never mind. What was it? Orion of Mystic Tenants, right? If we pitch a chi into it, we get to draw 3. So that's perfect. That will be our 5 cards back, right? That's plus. Yeah, perfect. So we've got 5 cards in hand. Preserved Edition. Wonderful. Now, right, it would be super good to reuse cash in, and this is probably how you get even more damage out of it. But because we're so close to the combo anyway, I'm gonna take the cash out because we need a blue, and we'll just cycle through with the silver. We've got 5 cards in hand. We're basically just looking for the Deep Blue Sea, right? So pitch, and we get, there we go, perfect. But we can pitch one more time, and we get probably another Deep Blue Sea. Yeah, because cash out's on the bottom. All right, so again, we're floating 1, perfect. We have a nice juicy stack. Let's go. Deep Blue Sea allows us to pitch the other Deep Blue Sea to end off, and then we have our 3 Wide Blue Yonders to play. So we are starting off at 13, right? And again, each of these is just gonna add to that. So the next one makes it 21, and then we go to a nice juicy 29, followed by a 37, is it? Perfect, right? So 37, turn 1, fairly decent. Again, this is just the stripped down bare minimums of the combo, meaning that there's a lot of other stuff you could add to it. You've got Tome, you've got Art of War, you've got the other draw interactions, you have the Sacred Arts. This is like the bare minimum damage that you can potentially do, right? So yeah, it's going to be glorious in all 3. I'm excited to see the avenues they take. Again, Zen is shaping up to probably the most consistent, with Enigma being potentially the most damage. But there we go. Final Act 2.0 with a nice, beautiful card too. I hope they do something with this, a promo. I definitely want. I mean, it's the box art too, right? It's fantastic. It's such a gorgeous card. I need it in cold foil. But we'll leave it there for Nu, Zen, and Enigma, right? Again, works in all 3 of them. Okay, so next up we have Dash Inventor Extraordinaire, which has a bunch of different paths you can take, right? Different lines of play, all depending on which item you start with. But what's better than some Dominate Dash, right? Some unblockable shenanigans, thanks to the Convection Amplifier, which just has Move Steam Counter, and then the next attack action card you play this turn gains Dominate. Combo that with Outpace or Lay Waste, and your opponent can't even block with equipment, right? So what can we do? Well, we can start off with our cash in, offer the gold to definitely go positive in hand. Right, so now we got 5 cards, perfect. There's Outpace. So Outpace has this can't be defended by equipment, meaning we can now use the Convection Amplifier along with a bunch of buffs, right? So Rotary Arm has go again, perfect. Rotary Arm and some Boom Grenades. Boom on board, put the Steam Count on Symbiosis, definitely crank it. Play the other one, do just that. And now we get to Blossom. That covers the cost of Outpace. We get to braces, it should hit a red, perfect. So we are going for how much damage? We do want the boost because we want to go again. 12, right? With dominate, with the, what am I doing? Yeah, there we go, there's a dominate trigger. So yeah, 12 with dominate plus the 2 boom grenades, and it can't be blocked by equipment. So we do a, how much? It's definitely viable in Blitz, right? But it's still, look at that, sizable damage here in Class Constructor 2. So now we can do the Achilles Accelerator to gain the action points, which now allows us to just finish off with a couple shots, although they're going to block through it, but that's fine, right? So yeah, I just wanted to throw Dash in here because it's one that was brought to my attention. It's very fun. And again, all depending on what item you start with, you got a whole bunch of different, either just great play or combo play. So Dash is definitely just a nice inclusion to do some combo shenanigans with. Okay, speaking of unblockable shenanigans, we could not include Rhino. So similar to Dash, we're basically just making our opponent's hand redundant, right? Instead of Dominates, we now have just Intimidate. So the gist is just Savage Sash and Blood Rush Bellow, right? And just slowly work your way through their hand and then just attack relentlessly with some very big things, right? So hopefully we can high roll. So we start with Blood Rush Bellow, pitch a Wrecker Romp. We did hit the Skullcrack. That's kind of unfortunate, but we'll see what we get. We got a Beast Within, so we can now Monstrous Veil, hopefully hit something we care about. No, that's fine. Well, we got the resource from Skullcrack, so we want the Blood Rush Bellow to definitely hit the Beast Within now. It didn't. We got a Pulping, and Pulping's a guaranteed hit, so it is definitely time to start. Savage Sash, Goliath Gauntlet, and this will get rid of their last card, which is also fantastic. It hit a Beast Within, so that also works wonders. Right, we get another Beast Within, so the other Pulping is also hitting a Beast Within. So we start with a 12, followed by a 10 into Skullcrack for a resource. That's kind of helpful, right? Because then we can just Claw, pitch a Beast Within, and it's not better to play the Beast Within. No, it's not. It's a 7 into a 7. So it's not a KO, but I mean, 36 in one turn, unblockable. It's fairly nice. It's not the highest roll we could hit. Maybe we'll look for something a little bit better. Okay, now this is the start we're looking for, right? 2 Beast Within. So yeah, it's a guaranteed on the Blood Rush Bellow, meaning we maintain our hand size of 4. So Blood Rush Bellow, pitch the Wrecker Romp, hit a Beast Within. Definitely do the Bean Trackers. Again, I don't think there's actually anything I run in this version that needs the action points, but obviously you'd have a lot more cards that, well, not necessarily have Go Again, right, and need that action point just to smooth over this sort of sequence. Another Blood Rush, right, with, again, a pretty high odds to hit the Beast Within. Don't hit the Pulping. Good. Thank you. Right, so now we're double buffed. We still have a nice juicy hand. In fact, we have 5 cards now, and they only have 2 cards left. So we could Intimidate one more away, or we could just play it as is. It's probably better just to play as is, right? Because we want the resources. I mean, it's only upside if we hit the Beast Within, right? Yeah, we have more than enough Go Again. We'll do the Monstrous Veil. Okay, so they have no cards in hand. We can Savage Sash. We can Goliath Gauntlet. Well, they'll have no cards in hand is what I should say. And then we can Pulping, hit the Beast Within. Or a Skullcrack. No, that's fine. We can then guarantee the next one. So Pulping, pitch the other Pulping, hit the Skullcrack. That's fine. A resource is okay. Because now Wild Ride has a 50-50. That's a 10. Hit the Beast Within. Perfect. Gets us, unfortunately, nothing. No, because we keep discarding. Perfect. We get the Wrecker Romp, which is actually what we really want. Right? Because now we can Wild Ride, pitch the Wrecker Romp, and then swing. Although this is already more than enough damage, apparently. Right, so that's a 10, and then we could have also done another, was it 3, 5, 7, right, on top of that. So definitely overkill, definitely the potential of this deck. But how consistent is it? Do you really need it this consistent? Probably not, right? Just a Blood Rush Bellow and Savage Sash is gonna lead you into a very powerful turn with not much cards for resistance. Okay, since we showed off Rhino, we might as well tackle Berserk Kayo, Dual Living Legend. This is just an insane deck. Regardless of the combo, you can just run such a strong basis for it. But basically, we're trying to Blood Rush Bellow and Berserk with Savage Sash just to have a huge turn where regardless of what your opponent has, if they can't deny the Go Again or the action points, you're just gonna run straight on top of them. Okay, so starting off, we get to do Berserk, pitch a blue, right? Float the resources, that's wonderful. Blood Rush Bellow. This will be a -1, but it's still much better than Blood Rush Bellow by itself, obviously, because Berserk will allow us to have 3 cards in hand. What do we end up with? A Run Roughshod, another Blood Rush Bellow, perfect, and a Madcap Charger. So Madcap Charger is a insane card in KO. It's a 1 cost, right? Yes, it's 5 power, but that's fine. Now, read it, right? So it has go again and a discard effect. But with Savage Sash, it's 0 cost. With Berserk, it is now draw a card back. So this is great for comboing and popping off. Otherwise, probably pitch it, save it maybe, or even again, it's a 1 cost. So you can still do huge turns, even just off of Berserk. You don't really need the Blood Rush Bellow, and you don't even need multiple copies of Blood Rush Bellow. You could probably take 1, all 3 copies of Berserk, everything else as at least a 5 attack or greater. Ton of go again, and KO is just so strong. But we can Sash, we can Gauntlets, we can float a resource off of the Run Roughshod. That's probably a good call to start, right? Yep, because we really want to extract the value of our blues, and then we definitely Blood Rush Bellow. Keeping either of these cards is fantastic. This Savage Feast is another one of the 1 costs, right? It has draw a card, so with Berserk, it's draw 2 cards, discard 1, and then thanks to being trackers, we don't have to worry about it not having go again. But we start with Blood Rush Bellow. We hit what? We hit a Savage Feast off of the Berserk, so that's wonderful, right? So we get that, and we get Pulping, and we get another Blood Rush. So we have absolutely high rolled off this, right? So we'll definitely do that again. Discard, we get a Madcap Charger from the Berserk. Am I doing this correctly? Whenever you discard a random card, banish it. No, I'm looking at the wrong pile, aren't I? That's discard, that's banish. Yeah. Still, look at my hand size, look at my buffs. Let's just dominate Dorinthia right now, right? So what do you want to start with? Probably the Savage Feast, right? Again, 0 cost, discard 1, draw 2. So we stay at 4 cards. Fantastic. If we get more Savage Feast, we're probably pitching them away. If we get the other one that we just went over, the Madcap Charger, that's definitely what we want to play. Look at that, 12. Already exhausting the hand, right? It's equivalent to Rhino with Intimidate, just with so much further reach. So what can we do now? We will definitely do the Wild Ride, since it's draw discard, and probably pitch the Breakneck Battery, right? Then Pulping. Basically, you play Pulping, right? If they have card in Arsenal when their hand is empty, since you want the go-agains. But I'm pretty sure we'll be able to KO Dorinthia right now, especially because we got, obviously, all the Blood Rush procs. So Wild Ride again, perfect. We hit whatever we hit. Breakneck Battery. Barraging Bighorn would be perfect, because it's a blue, right? So that's a wonderful card to pitch. That means we can Pulping and Mandible Claw. So ideally, right, we discard whatever Pulping draws, and it's basically just Pulping, Mandible Claw, Savage Feast for probably 60-ish damage. It's definitely overkill. So Pulping, pitch, draw, discard. Oh, either one's fine. Madcap Charge is even better, right? Well, if we had a card discard, actually. So what do we get? We get ourselves another Madcap Charger. Perfect, right? Again, it's a 0 cost, so we keep the 2 for our Mandible Claw. And this is the KO, but we'd still be able to play Mandible Claw, and depending on what we draw, another card, right? In fact, we don't even have to Mandible Claw. We could just Wild Ride. If we get another Wild Ride, and yeah, it's another 20-ish damage. So regardless of their equipment, KO just has an absurd kill range, basically, against any opponent, right? If they're at 30 and you get Berserk, just Savage Sash, and you'll have a super powerful turn, regardless, right? And unlike Intimidate, again, it exhausts their hand instead of giving it back to them for their turn. So now we have Benji, and probably my favorite card in the game, Spring Tiding. So Spring Tiding, when it hits, draw a card for each other attack action with 2 or less base power you control on the combat chain, which means it is available for shenanigans, right, with Predatory Strike, but we do have Roar the Tiger. So basically you can create the Crouching Tigers, play them all, just pump up the chain links, and then use Spring Tiding as a massive draw, but we'll probably go for the damage. So we are versing a classic constructed bot, so I was curious how much damage we can actually push. Now, there are obviously easy ways to disrupt this. I mean, the Iron Rot, Gauntlet, and Plate are more than enough block for the Spring Tiding. I don't think the bot uses equipment for whatever reason, right? But we'll see what we can do. There's basically 2 objectives of the combo we're running. A, draw through our deck, and B, play Tigers, and then end with, you know, a massive Tiger Swipe. So we'll see what we can pull off, right? So we will definitely start with the Predatory Strike, create our Tigers, and then the Roar, since these are actions. Then everything else, we don't really want to disrupt the chain. So we have 4 Tigers to work with, which is good, right? We also have some other utility, Silken Gi, to give an attack -1, so that we still get the protection from Benji's main ability. Then we also have Mask to draw, and Breeze Riders to actually give the Tiger Swipe, the big combo payoff, go again, so that we can play them back to back without a worry. But where to begin? Well, we already have a +1, so it's probably Tiger, right? Then the next one will be 2, and then the next one will be 2. Yeah, because we want to, again, avoid a 3, so that the opponent can't actually block. Although again, it doesn't matter if they block because Spring Tidings will still trigger. In fact, you know what? It might have been worth actually trying to sink their hand a bit, right? And put one of them as a 3. But we'll see if it was necessary. Because we also do have the Tearing Shuko. So we can still kind of do it, right? In fact, why don't we? We'll go Growl. That'll give a Crouching Tiger a little buff. And then we'll go Tearing Shuko. And we'll try and see if we can get 2 cards out of their hand, right? To help with the Tiger Swipes actually landing. So then we go Crouching Tiger. So it's now 4. Block with 2. Perfect. Done, done. Again, doesn't matter if it's hit or not. We can mask by this time as well since we played enough cards. We get another Growl. That will not be enough block, but it still attacks for Spring Tiding. So Growl, pass, into another Crouching Tiger, and then our first draw is going to be for 6, if it hits, of course, right? And again, in this condition, against the bot, it will. So, yeah, we're basically just going to draw through the entirety of the deck and see how much damage we can rack up. So draw, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and look at that, we get another Spring Tiding. So we can just continue to make the chain nice and large, right? So that's done. Then we'll just do the 100 wins. The other one will get buffed, so that's another card gone. Now we do have to play something. We have to play a Crouching Tiger into the Tiger Swipe. So I believe there's still another Growl. Hopefully that works out. But it should be a 4, which means it will hit. So that's definitely good. Head jab, pass, and then Spring Tiding for the rest of our deck. Looks good to me. Pass. And should definitely be more than 10, but 10 is all we need. So what do we have to play? So I'd have to break the chain for the Tiger Swipe, but it's still probably worth it, unfortunately. We're missing another Tiger Generator, unfortunately. Or rather, I should have kept one Tiger. But I think we drew into the Spring Tiding perfectly, so I wouldn't have been able to manage that. Yeah, unfortunate, but nonetheless, right, we'll just clear our hand, and then we'll play the Tiger Swipe back-to-back and see again how much damage overall we were able to push. I mean, we've already done 17, so that's quite nice, right? Do another head jab. We'll leave the 100 wins because we can buff them. In fact, you know what? We'll go the 2 into the 2. That's the better way to do it. Pass. Then we get to do 100 wins for a 2. No, wasn't the last 100 wins? Yeah, it's a 4. Wow. Why is it a 4? +1 for each other on the combat chain. Okay. Still, it should get the block. Yeah, because it wasn't played from Arsenal. So it does the 2. And then we go head jab. Yeah, I'm sad that we have to use the Predatory Strike and break the chain, but still, look at this. Look how massive this chain is. And again, just nice little pings. Pass. We don't even need the Ancestral Empowerment, thinking about it. Okay, so last but not least, play the double strikes for the 2 extra damage. One more. Oh, there we go. And then we break the chain, our glorious 20 chain link chain, right? Predatory Strike, get ourselves 3 tigers, let everything resolve. And then it's just tiger, tiger swipe, tiger swipe. Yeah, and it should still be sizable damage. Again, we have the Roar of the Tiger as the ongoing effect, so they all have 1 damage as well. And then we also have Ancestral Empowerment to buff them up. So there's another 1. We should be able to KO the Dorinthia, which is, nice range. You can actually do 40 damage as Benji, as long as, it all goes smoothly and nothing gets disrupted, which is a big ask, even with the blanket protection that Benji has. But nonetheless, right, there's 3 into a Tiger Swipe that has go again, thanks to the Breeze Rider boots. It gets the +2, and it will also then generate 3 more Tigers for us, which means we can go Tiger, and then the next one will generate 6. But unfortunately, we won't actually get to show that off because, yeah, we've done enough damage, even without the Ancestral Empowerment. And I'm pretty sure we underdrew, right? Or would you say overdrew, right? From the second Spring Tiding. Nonetheless, the last Tiger Swipe does 4. Even if they block with equipment at this point, wouldn't matter. And of course, from that, we would have gotten 6 more Crouching Tigers to play for another 6 damage. So we could have done 48, right? With the Ancestral Empowerment. Or even pitch them and swing. Yeah, so that's fairly decent, I gotta say. Right, so Riptide has a fun new toy by way of Murky Water, and Murky Water is good for a couple of reasons. 1, it has Dominate. 2, it's an arrow, so there's some arrow synergy, and overall, right, it's better than Nourishing, because Nourishing was the old combo Riptide that I very much love, but Murky Water just fits it so much better. So this isn't necessarily the build I would run, But let's just see what exactly we can do, right? How high can we make a single Murky Water? So starting off, we're going to cash in, we're going to spend the gold, but we got to avoid the Riptide Arsenal for the setup we're currently running. So nothing goes into the Arsenal, pass, we get 2 more cards, perfect, we get 3 of a kind. Now we can use Dreadball off the deep blue, right? So it doesn't matter what we sink, well, it sort of does. We want to get both Release Attention and Point the Tip off, so we pass, we will sink a Release Attention, that gets us our 3 resources. We can then use Dreadball, pass, put Murky Water into the Arsenal face up, then we can give it an aim counter with Point the Tip, right? And then we can do Release Attention to gain our other main buff. And then lastly, we have another new sort of combo-esque feature, which is 3 of a kind into Long Draw, where you can basically, again, have a card to pitch and now 2 cards to send away with Long Draw, which is perfect, because right now we're floating 1, but we need 2 for Murky Water. So we'll use Long Draw, we'll get rid of Point the Tip, doesn't really matter, and then we shoot Murky Water, pitch our last card, and there we go. It's not too bad. An 18 for Dominate, but I shouldn't have let it clear, because there was some other things. For one, well, perfect, it's on the top. We have Release Attention, which, as you see there, the next arrow this turn gets +3. Defense reactions can't be played from Arsenal, this chain link, and of course, Dreadball's own effect, arrows you control have defense reactions can't be played from hand, this chain link. So no defense reactions can be played against said arrow. It also has Dominate, so only 1 card from hand can be played, then of course Armor and the massive damage. And in a normal Riptide, this would probably be enough, right? A couple of these to then just trap your way to victory, plus you also get the trap Recycle with Murky Water. But there is a bit better of a setup I'd probably run. It's not as high of damage, right? So I wanted to show this off first, but it is probably more consistent and a better game plan overall. Okay, so this is a little bit of a tangent, but still somewhat combo-y. Now, the better way, in my opinion, to use Murky Water is not as powerfully, but over the course of the match, and then running strictly traps in Riptide, right? Which is the thing I very much love. I've fallen in love with this deck, right? So we were just taking Nourishing 2 copies, but now we'll just take 3 copies of Murky Water, some buffs, and then everything else would be a trap. And with this opening hand that we have right now, what can we do? Well, we can Deep Blue away one of our buffs, right? So we'll probably get rid of the Seek and Destroy. Right, so we got 3, which means that we can play 1, for instance, Premeditate. We'll put the Murky Water into our Arsenal face down. That allows us to then pop Bard Castaway, and we can turn our face down arrow face up, give it that aim counter so it has Dominate, right? Let the Premeditate resolve, play the Release Attention, and then we can just shoot with our 2 remaining resources. So we get a 9 with Dominate. Is that correct? No, because they haven't been buffed yet. There we go. We had a 13 with Dominate. That could recycle traps back, right? Is going to generate a Ponder token. You can't play defense reactions from the Arsenal against it. Since there's Dominate, you'd only be able to get 1 out of the hand, meaning that, you know, most likely from hand, it's at most a 4 block on average, right? Obviously Guardian, some other classes have some really big block. And then, of course, equipment. So chances are it's probably going to hit. Again, if we, you know, we're a bit more strained, played our traps first, played reactive, and then used it, we would be able to cycle back a bunch of traps. So I've also got 5 more cards in the deck for a specific reason. 1, so we can see everything, right? So Ponder, we'll get a card, I can put it in the Arsenal, and then we'll see everything else, right? So we also take Remembrance. Again, just a nice way to cycle back the Murky Water. We take Memorial Ground, a fantastic way to cycle back it, right? So this puts it on the top of the deck, meaning that we can basically guarantee when we're going to use it next. And of course, Codex, the other great way to cycle it back, where it goes straight into the Arsenal. And perfectly goes face down into the Arsenal, meaning that we can use Barb Castaway to give it a name counter. Other than that, again, just a few select buffs, and then reel in and a whole lot of traps. And probably the sideboard would just be value blocks, right? So cards that aren't defense reactions that you can swap out traps for, depending on the matchup. So for instance, against Dorinthia, right? They're going to have Go Again. They're going to have Greater Than. They're going to have reactions, right? And that's probably a bad one to actually showcase. But if we change it, think of Reiner, right? What's Reiner going to do? They'll probably have Greater Than, right? But they won't have reactions, and Go Again is now dead. So we probably want to swap out the reactionary traps. So any trap that has the clause, play this, or I should say, the effect triggers if the opponent has played a reaction this turn, right? For just value blocks, so that way we can get around, you know, like CNC or other defense reaction denial. But yeah, so I just wanted to show off Riptide. Okay, so lucky last. We obviously couldn't talk combos without going to our main man, Kano. Wizard, by far, is the most combo-y class, right? It was built from the ground up to be combo-y, whether you're trying to FTK, OTK, brainstorm, pitch stack, right? Combo has just always been a feature of Wizard. So weaving instants, it's all fun, right? There's tons of avenues to explore. Now, the combo we're showcasing, is it the best around? No. Is it the most damage? No. But I think I've stripped it down to something consistent that I can show off and do, a pretty insane amount of damage, hopefully. But yeah, Wizard just has so many avenues to explore. It's all combo, it's all fun. And the new big ticket item is, of course, Kindle. Amp, fantastic, but the clencher, it's instant, 0 cost, and if you have no cards, draw a card. Meaning that this is a very powerful hand right now because we stick one in the arsenal, and suddenly we have 2 extra draw, right, on our opponent's turn nonetheless. So, a few honorable mentions. Ragamuffin's Hat and the Blood Drop Brocade. We're here on Talishar, right, because Kindle doesn't work on Felt Table. I should also mention that. So, unfortunately, we might end up blocking the HP, but as for these 2 cards, Blood Drop Brocade, gain 1 resource on your opponent's turn. Obviously, Tunic is better for the longevity, but we don't need Tunic. We're trying to do this straight away. Ragamuffin's Hat is a get out of jail free card, basically. So draw a card, then put the other one on top, meaning if we do draw badly, we can then put it right on top for Kano's ability. And then same with Storm Striders, right? It's our 1 freebie to play a card as instant. But as long as we draw blues, we can just basically stack Kano over and over again, thanks to Kindle. So as for our turn, it's just pass, stick it in the arsenal, have our draw, hit a blue. We're super happy. So, Storm Striders, we will pitch, let it resolve just in case. From there, we can just double Kano. Again, just pitch, get rid of the cards, and that way we can play Kindle. So it's Aether Wildfire, definitely want that in our banish. The other one is going to be what? Zap into, come on, be a tome. Aether Dart, that's fine. We need some 0 freebies as well, although we might have wanted to draw that. Right, then we can start kindling. Kindle gets us another Aether Wildfire. So this is perfect because, again, this is the Ragamuffin Hat time. So we get to Ragamuffin's Hat, draw a blue, hopefully. Perfect. Put Aether Wildfire on top, and we are set with the combo, basically, right? As long as we get another blue, we are happy chappy because we get to double Aether Wildfire. We're 1 resource off, right? So if I didn't actually Storm Striders, we also could have Aether Wildfire. Oh well. So, yep, Kano. Pitch the Zap. Guarantee a Wildfire hits. Perfect. Definitely banish it. I mean, even if we get a red card off of Kindle at this point, we don't have to play it. We can just play the double Aether Wildfire anyway. So this won't be the most damage that you could potentially get to because we haven't hit Tome, but it's still going to be pretty fantastic. So Kindle gets us a blue. Okay, so we'll take our chances, right? Don't want to take the chances. So it's an 11 for Tome. You know what? We'll check it. So we'll do this, see what we hit. Otherwise, I can just undo. So it's just an Aether Flare. So I will undo, right? So we can just pitch. Other than that, let's just pop off. So, resource-wise, can I play the Crucible 8th Wave? I can. And I can Metacarpus the first one as well, right? Because we have 2, 5, 4... No, I can only do 1. No, they counteract. I can do this. Crucible of the 8th Wave, proc it, right? Then Aether Wildfire, pitch that, get our resources, use the Metacarpus, give it the +1, right? Let it go. It did 8 damage. So, of course, that could be neutered by your opponent. Don't forget about that, because we are here on Talishar. But then we can Blood Drop for the resource. That allows us to play the second one, and here's where the damage stacks. We can't Metacarpus, but that's fine. So it now is a 12, right? 4 and 8. And our Aether Dart is going to finish off our opponent. So it is doing a... how much? 32, was it? What was that? In total, we did 41, right? So they were at 80, it did 21. Did I do that correctly? I think I did that correctly. Either way, as you can see, that was a ton of damage, and we definitely low rolled. So you know what? Let's run it back, see if we can find a better hand. Okay, this could work. So we get to cycle away the Aether Wildfire. That's fine. We get to start with 2 Kindles and a Tome. This probably has a decent chance of doing some much higher damage. Right, so Crucible, we'll pitch the Aether Wildfire, we'll pass, right, we'll pass, and then we'll just put Kindle into the arsenal, and we drew a blue, perfect. But we also drew another Tome, so that's not as good, but we can definitely double play the Tomes, which is kind of okay. So Storm Strider is always the way to start, pitch away the Zap, right, and now it's just about emptying the hand so we can play the Kindles. So we'll get to play one of them after Storm Strider resolves. So it goes, God, how do we do this? We go Tome, double draw, pass, but don't let it resolve. We then Kindle. We then Ragamuffin. We let that resolve. We then put that on top of the deck. Done. We then Kano. We then pitch. We then let that resolve. That way we can banish the tome. Perfect. Then we let this Kindle... We let the one Kindle resolve in case the draw is bad first. Yeah, so let the Kindle resolve. It's a blue, that's fine. So now we get to Kano, right? Pitch that away, and we can play the other Kindle. See what we draw. It is Aether Wildfire. So again, don't do this in game, but obviously we can scum it, and we can make sure that the Kano effect resolves before the Kindle, and we get to banish the Aether Wildfire. Remember, we're just trying to showcase, but yeah, don't abuse that here on Talishar, and obviously in person you won't be allowed to, right? So keep that in mind. So then we get to Kano. No, sorry, then we get to Kindle, right? Let that resolve, so we get the draw one. Perfect, it's a blue. Now, Gaze is definitely interesting, right? Fortunately, we can't put it back to the top, but I did swap out some of the cards in the deck. Gaze is, I didn't realize it, but it is obviously an extra pitchable if you play it plus opt, so that is fantastic. So hoping to hit it with Kano, but I guess this will do. So we get to Kano, pitch the Gaze, and we hit what? Oh, perfect, a Gaze, right? So that we definitely want to play before the other tome resolves, because now we have a lot better foresight into what we're actually going to get. And we have played, what have we played? No, we can't, because we have to let a tome resolve for us to actually get the benefit, because unfortunately Kindle is instant. So we're free balling the first tome and we hit the other tome. That's not as good, but is definitely workable, right? So now we get to Gaze, since we've played a tome, right? Pass, it'll go into our hand. We get to see the next two cards. So we still want to hit another Aether Wildfire, but knowing they're blue does work with Kindle. So we will, what will we do? We'll spend the tome on the Aether, and then we'll get to Kindle. So we want to keep one on top so that we draw a blue. So one to the bottom, one to the top, right? Because we're still trying to hit better cards with Kano. And then we get to Kano, right? Get rid of the Gaze, don't let it resolve. Crucible, pitch the tome, do let this resolve. I wasn't thinking. Double Kano, get rid of the tome. Then Kindle, then pass. Get a blue, which we still need to pitch for the Aether. Banish the other one. Good. Then let Kano resolve again. Get a 0 cost. That's fine. Then we can tome. Get 2 more cards. Pass. Hopefully some more blues. We get perfect. A lot more blues. So then we get to Kano. We need to get rid of 1 more. Pass. Prognosticate. That's fine. So banish that. Can we get away with the other one? Right, now we gotta do some math. So we got the 4 off of a blue and blood drop, meaning that we can go for 1 more card, right? If it's Aether Wildfire, it's better to obviously do the Metacarpus and the Crucible, but we will try our luck. We can also opt. Does that really matter which one we play? Well, no, we're not playing either. Sorry, we're pitching, so no, it doesn't matter. So we do that, and our card is a Gaze Ages, so that is definitely useful. We can then Gaze, pass, and we get to cherry pick our last card. So we don't have the resources for the other. Actually, we will, because we have Gaze. So, you know what? Max damage. That goes to the bottom. That goes to the top. I screwed myself, because we can't actually. Right? God. 1, 3. That's the 2 Aether Wildfires. This pays for Kano, but not the other one. Yeah, so that was wrong. Play it. Unfortunately, we don't get to triple stack the Wildfire. But we do get 2 off, so that's fine. So we go bottom, and Zap will be the card we play, right? Then we get to Kano, pitch, pass, and get the Zap, banish it. All right, but this should still be more damage overall, right? So now, what do? We Aether Wildfire, we pitch, we do the damage, we can't Metacarpus, so we go no, right? So we are still starting small without the extra buffs to it. Right, so keep that in mind. Obviously, that would lessen the blow in an actual match because your opponent should have some amount of Arcane Barrier. I think on average, it's like 3 to 4, so that could definitely still neuter this. But we're just here to see, you know, the fun of it. All right, off of that, we can then Blood Drop, get the resource, pass, do the other Aether Wildfire, let it hit, no to the Metacarpus. You know, Braces of was it Bravefold? The one that Braces of Belief, there we go. Might actually be better in what we're doing because I rarely use Metacarpus. Because again, I tried to streamline it, right? Which also means resource-wise, we're cutting it very close into now just a ton of damage, right? So we can opt, don't really care. We're just taking them because there's 0 cost, right? And then they get the damage buff from the Aether Wildfire. So no, Zap, then Prognosticates, again no, do the damage, and then finally, well, we don't really care, bottom, oh, it's one card left, what was I thinking? I should have been looking at the deck size. So we actually kind of got max off, right? So how much damage did we do? What did we mess up on? Right, I had to pitch one of the tomes. That was the misstep. But overall, we'll let this swing. I think I have to go a couple rounds, right, for us to actually see damage, but the pitch stack will go away and then we can see. So we'll clear this, doesn't really matter. Yeah, so we did 75 damage, right? Again, it's by no means the top end of damage, but super strong. And I think there are definitely ways to pull it off a bit more consistently. Again, just flying your deck with zeros and pull the trigger once you find Kindle. But yeah, Aether Wildfire is just a busted card. I think we'll get to the point where, you know, due to the critical mass of cards, Aether Wildfire will have to be removed, because it's definitely the linchpin, but it's not the be all and end all, right? You can definitely do damage without Aether Wildfire, but obviously making an FTK and OTK, this is your go-to card. Anyway, that'll do it. So we've got Kano to end it off. Again, definitely the king of combos. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.